It is time for the titans of comic book publishing to take the back seat because the showstopper of today's video happens to be the intrepid Image Comics. Founded in 1992 by many high-profile illustrators as a platform for creator-owned comics, Image Comics is the third largest direct-market comic book and graphic novel publisher, which has housed a horde of powerful characters over the years. With this video, we'll plunge deeper into the world of Image Comics and look at 12 of the strongest and most brutal characters in that universe. We suggest you stay tuned till the end of this video to find out if your favorite Image Comics character has made the list. Before we get into our explanation, we do have a very small request. If you enjoy our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Now, are you ready? Let's get rolling. Spawn! A character as iconic as Spawn certainly deserves to be on the very top of this list, and for obvious reasons, may we add. Initially a decorated officer in the US Marines, Al Simmons became a CIA operative who traveled all over the world on secret missions. Sadly, one of the covert missions took the life of this highly trained assassin, and as a result, he was sent to Hell, where he made a deal with the devil only to become the devil's favorite demon. Fair to say that's how Al Simmons became Spawn, a powerful demon with near infinite powers. We're talking about someone who literally has the power to stop time, doesn't require his internal organs to be alive, which makes him effectively immortal by the way. He can resurrect the dead, regenerate literally any part of his body, and manipulate matter as well as reality amongst a horde of other really cool things. If you're wondering how, it's all because his body is made of necroplasm, which in turn gives him the power to do unthinkable things with his own body. Oh, this reminds us that we recently did a video exploring the lesser known powers of Spawn, so feel free to check it out if you happen to be a crazy fan of this anti-hero as much as we are. Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man. When someone has a penchant for crushing the craniums of their enemies as if they were annoying zits on their face, you know for a fact that you most certainly cannot take that someone lightly. Nolan Grayson might look like a loving and doting family man, but that's not who he really is. In reality, he happens to be a cold-blooded killer who's a member of the brutally vicious alien Viltrumite race, sent to Earth with the sole purpose of conquering it. Well, it's a good thing that he didn't do what he came to do and instead ended up starting a family. Nolan, as the terrifying super being Omni-Man, is many things. He's practically indestructible and has time and again gone to the whole extent of displaying his power at a catastrophically gruesome level. If you think that's all, there's plenty more to shock you to the core. He almost beat his own son to death, and add to this his sociopathic ability to lie without feeling the slightest bit of remorse. Now, you wouldn't really expect anything less from someone who's a significant element in the intergalactic plan for universal domination, can you? That wouldn't be fair. Sarah Pezzini, Witchblade. All Sarah ever wanted was to be a good homicide detective, but that took a 180-degree flip when she came in contact with the mystical Witchblade. Now, as a wielder of this sentient, powerful, ancient weapon, she was given incredible powers. But as we all know, with great power comes great responsibility. Sarah Pezzini, since then, has seen as well as been a part of things that, to be honest, she just wasn't ready for. Hell, she's battled against creatures that she didn't even know existed. Nevertheless, Sarah has been struggling to deal with things, if not outright control them. As a host of the supernatural gauntlet, she can generate as many weapons as she wants to and simultaneously manifest a full body armor to protect herself. In addition, she has the ability to shoot fireballs from her palms. And mind you, these fire blasts are strong enough to pierce a hole right through a Darkling. Last but not least, she also has the power to literally slay beings from other dimensions. We can't think of anything cooler than that. The Dragon, Savage Dragon. Erik Larsen's The Dragon happens to be a fin-headed, green-skinned behemoth, but don't worry, he happens to be one of the good guys. This superhero was found in a burning field in Chicago with no memory of his past life, and thanks to a certain Lieutenant Frank Darling, the Dragon joins the police department to fight against the villainous mutant criminal super freaks who are busy tormenting the city. In the world of Savage Dragon, it's important that you remember that criminals are basically a blend of both mutants and superhumans, so it shouldn't come as a surprised to see a dragon siding with the police. As a member of the Krillin royal bloodline, Savage Dragon is blessed with a lot of superhuman powers. With his enhanced durability, he's resistant to all kinds of damage, be it bullets, explosions, and even blows from superhuman foes. Speaking of his metabolism, he's capable of healing way faster than even the healthiest human beings on record. We're talking about having the power to regenerate a full limb or organ, and also recovering from critical injuries. Don't go by just his size. He can easily jump over a 2-story building, and if you're gauging his strength, he can effortlessly lift about 34 tons. The Max. Just one look at this purple-skinned hero and his dreadful appearance will make you think otherwise. Truth be told, Sam Keith's The Max was quite a strange comic book series, and to top things off, the character is even reported to have had a crossover series with the Caped Crusader. Our titular hero happens to be a part of 2 worlds, the real world and a spirit realm that the Max addresses as the Outback. In the real world, the Max happens to be a homeless man, but in the Outback, he happens to be a heroic character possessing the craziest of powers. He's also the protector of the all-powerful goddess, the Leopard Queen, who, in case you didn't know, also exists in the real life as a freelance social worker named Julie Winters. Now, if we take a proper look at the character, like it or not, it was the fluky fusion of the 2 worlds which created him in the first place. Therefore, it goes without saying that the Max happens to be in possession of some very exciting abilities besides being insanely fast and strong. Pit. Let's take Hulk, Wolverine, and Superman and blitz the trio in a blender. Voila, you've got Pit right in front of you. So what you're looking at is basically a mix between a human and an alien, one that has been genetically engineered by the alien race, the Creed, to serve as a mindless killing machine. Appearance-wise, Pit is more inclined towards his alien roots given the gray texture of his skin, the lack of a nose, the sharp oversized teeth, those red eyes, minus the pupils of course, and let's not disregard his epic retractable talons. Pit is in possession of superhuman strength that allows him to fight aggressively with a Mjolnir-empowered Supreme. He can carry on battling for hours without feeling even the slightest bit tired. Oh, did we forget to mention that he loves resorting to pain as a pep pill because that only makes him fight harder? Pit has miraculously survived falls from unimaginable heights. Add to this explosions, blasts, and let's not disregard power-packed punches from his enemies as well. And if all of those aren't enough, he's also telepathic and makes use of his exceedingly strong psychic link to track down his enemies. Paul Johnstone, Shadowhawk. Many have taken up the iconic role of Shadowhawk in the past, with the sole purpose of bringing justice where there was none. Paul Johnstone was one of them who, post getting deliberately jabbed with HIV-infected blood and becoming absolutely fed up with mobsters and their random assaults, decided to make use of whatever time he has left to dispense justice to the individuals that preyed upon innocent victims and take back the night from the corrupt and evil people of the cities. Paul, as Shadowhawk, was simply brutal. He didn't believe in the notion of just overpowering the criminals. He wanted to make a lasting impression on the perpetrators, believing that the judiciary system would not be punishing them adequately enough. Therefore, instead of just killing them or hitting them, he would end up breaking the spines of his targeted violent criminals so as to make them prisoners of their bodies. The last and the current Shadowhawk happens to be a young high school student named Eddie Collins. Badrock. What happens when an average 16-year-old boy ends up sneaking into his top-of-the-field genetic scientist father's laboratory and gulps down a vial of his father's top-secret genetic experiment? Well, he turns into Badrock, and that is precisely what happened to Thomas McCall. The substance he consumed mutated him and transformed his skin into a mass of organic rock, something similar to solid granite. It goes without saying that he also became exponentially bigger and stronger, and this is what made him eventually adopt the identity of Badrock and join the high-profile government-sanctioned superhero team Youngblood. Judging by his name, Badrock is clearly not the one to hide behind weapons or other gadgetry. Have you seen his size? But despite his massive mass, his reflexes are bang on point. Speaking of his super strength, it's beyond class 100, which means Badrock can easily hold up skyscrapers and lift over about 750,000 tons. Fair to say, he is both impulsive as well as dangerous, and you most certainly don't want to mess with him. Spartan Wildcats. Born as the Caribim warrior Jon Kall, he eventually became the biosynthetic humanoid Spartan, as well as the field commander of the Wildcats. He was rightfully chosen as the leader for several reasons. First off, there's his superhuman strength, which makes him capable of benching about 60 tons of weight with almost no difficulty. The solitary fact that he has a bio-android body points towards countless upgrades that have made his strength level reach astonishing heights. Spartan is incredibly tough and resistant towards conventional weapons like guns and knives. Believe believe us when we tell you that you can tear apart his arms, make holes throughout his body, including his head, and you'll still find him pushing forward. Next, he's capable of generating powerful blasts of energy and fields of plasma energy, projecting holographic images, and delivering energy-enhanced punches that you definitely don't want to be a recipient of. His senses, vision, smell, and hearing are also augmented, and he has stupefying regenerative abilities. Feel free to blow him up, but he will keep coming back. Haunt. How could we not talk about the priest Daniel Kilgore when he happens to be the Haunt? Like it or not, Kilgore's life has been nothing short of a tornado of supernatural terrors, and let's not forget the epic romantic betrayal, which, when summed up, led to the birth of the ghastly terror Haunt. For those of you wondering who this character is, let's help you out. Haunt happens to be a blend of Daniel and his dead brother Kurt, a fusion which was ultimately brought together with ectoplasm. When the brothers merge with each other, a white and black symbiotic sentient substance, which is basically ectoplasm, oozes from Daniel's mouth, eyes, and ears, eventually covering Daniel's entire body. As Haunt, Daniel has no other choice but to share his body with his dead brother. While Daniel is usually seen to be the captain and Kurt the next in command, it is often the latter who is seen guiding Daniel and taking over when it comes to fights and dangerous situations. Supreme. Ethan Crane became Supreme after he came in contact with supremium radiation at the tender age of just 5. This caused his hair to turn white and bestowed upon him a multitude of exceptional powers, such as flight, near invulnerability, super strength, super senses, and let's not forget his ability to project heat beams from his eyes. It kinda reminds you of Superman, right? Well, we wouldn't be lying if we told you that Supreme happens to be the equivalent of Superman when it comes to Rob Liefeld's comic book universe. The character was, however, retooled by Alan Moore as a loving tribute to Silver Age era Superman. But having said that, when it comes to his powers, there hasn't been any compromise made on that part. Supreme's super breath lets him create hurricane-like winds. By rubbing his hands at a speed, he can almost generate bolts of lightning. Supreme's accelerated healing allows him to heal his injuries almost instantly, and he is even immune to the nature of space, traveling through and surviving in outer space without the need of any technology or protection. Mighty Man. This ancient entity here was created by the mysterious wizard Fawn T, with the sole purpose of battling against evil. While the entity is usually seen passing from one host to the other at the time of the host's death, the host, regardless of their gender, is seen being altered into a handsome-looking tall blonde man possessing godlike powers. It goes without saying that there have been many who have taken up the mantle of the Mighty Man, including Robert Berman, Ann Stevens, Chelsea Nirvana, and Jill August. Speaking of the character's powers and abilities, Mighty Man is very strong, has the power of flight, happens to be bulletproof, and let's not forget about the enhanced durability. Marvelous verdict. Well, that's all for today, and with this, we've finally come to the end of our video. So, which of the heroes mentioned were you the most intrigued by? Did your favorite Image Comics character make it to the list? We would love to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a thumbs up, and stay tuned as we promise to come back with more exciting content in the future. Until next time, stay safe out there, thanks for watching, and have a marvelous day.